Yo. Week 12 in the books. 3 months in the season. We got 2 months left of the regular season before the playoffs start. Things are heating up. Quick hitters. Winning streak finally comes to end. John gives me a whooping. Alec got a much needed win versus Nick. Drew winning most of the week. Tim comes back over the weekend, but Drew brings it back into his arms on Sunday night for the win. Chris beats Jackson. And Tom and Sawyer had a banger of a matchup with Tom coming out on top. Myself and John, listen, the streak of not being able to have my first two picks and Andrew Wiggins, one of my better players, I was going to lose eventually. I had to be to one of the now first place team, one of the best teams in the league, John Olson. His team put up most points, rebounds, and steals in the league this week, had 1,000 points. 360 rebounds, 66 steals, 37 blocks. That's over 100 stocks in total, looking good. My team still managed to put up a pretty good fight despite not having my guys. But John's taking home this one. I won double-doubles, had a few more three-pointers, but John just handily had it the whole week. Luka putting up that triple-double, I think on either Thursday or Friday night, did it in for sure. But the MVP for John's going to be Lauri Markkanen. Shot 513 from the field, 971 from the stripe, 10 threes, 126 points, 28 rebounds. John slides up into first place from third, 8-1 this week. Only would have lost to Tom. 5-game winning streak, record of 9-2-1. He has a half-game lead over myself and Sawyer. I would have been 4-5. Only would have beaten Nick, Tim, Drew, and Jackson. 1-game losing streak, record of 9-3-0, sitting in second place. Good news is I get Steph back tonight. AD's looking good and coming back. Team's on the uprise. We're going to take it for what I can get right now. Nick versus Alec. Not going to get into much here. Alec needed a win badly. Thankfully, he's playing one of the teams that doesn't set their lineup, doesn't check fantasy, doesn't do a whole lot to make his team better. MVP for Al's going to be Giannis. 500 from the field, 94 points scored, 35 rebounds, 17 assists, 2 double-doubles, and a triple-double. It's actually the first week in, I think, at least a month that Alec hasn't scored the most points in the league. He was second this week by only a handful of points over Tom and Chris, but John putting up 125 more points scored. Alec from 8th up to 7th place would have been 5-4 this week. Only would have lost to John, Chris, Sawyer, and Tom. 1-game winning streak, record of 4-8-0. Meanwhile, Nick still in 10th, 1-8. Only would have beaten Tim. 6-game losing streak, record of 2-10-0. I believe from the 6th place team down to the 9th place team, there is only maybe a game and a half difference. So this still is very up in the air for whoever wants to get that final playoff spot for right now. Top 4, I'm going to say top 3 are fairly secured. That's not a dig on Chris or Tom, but John. I think it's going to be some combination of John, Sawyer, and myself in the top 3, barring any major injuries the rest of the way. Okay, on to Drew and Tim. Like I said, Drew was leading this one most of the week. He was complaining that Tim had taken it back from him over the weekend, but Drew, Van Vliet and Desmond Bain each hitting 4 threes apiece on Sunday, brought the matchup back into Drew's corner. He won threes this week, 64-61. Had a weekly low in turnovers with 51 and won both of the stock categories, which is everybody's want to do when they play Tim. Points are fairly close, only separated by 30 points. 16 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 double-doubles. Field goal percentage was very close, so this definitely could have gone either way, but Drew sneaks out this win and gets himself back up into a playoff spot. Drew only would have been 2-7 this week, only beating Tim and Nick, so thankfully he played Tim. 1-game winning streak, record of 4-7-1. Meanwhile, Tim slides back into 8th place, would have been 0-9 this week. Jokic is basically playing on his own. I wouldn't necessarily say that the waiver wire is super thin right now. I don't know if there's anyone out there that you'd want to hold on to for super long term, but there's definitely ad drops to be made, categories to be won if you need stuff out there. On to Chris and Jackson. Jackson's unfortunately just not throwing his heat right now. He's got some injuries on the team. Zion's out. Tatum's still playing very well. Booker's been in and out of the lineup. So when those top six aren't going for Jackson, it's not going right. Chris hit the most threes in the league this week with 91. Also had 10 double-doubles to boot. Won both the stock categories and won just about everything else, leading the matchup 9-1. MVP for Chris is going to be Zach LaVine. 536 from the field, 13 from the line. 21 threes hit, 116 points scored, 20 rebounds, 5 blocks. Chris still solidly in fourth place. Would have been 7-2. Only would have lost to John and Tom. 5-game winning streak, record of 8-3-1. Meanwhile, Jackson in ninth place would have been 3-6. Only would have been Nick, Tim, and Drew. 1-game losing streak, record of 3-9-0. Finally, on to Tom and Sawyer. This was the really good one of the week. Ended up being a good one this week, but Tom had quite a few more players than Sawyer. Sawyer still, we're not getting an explanation here why we're not making any ad drops. I think I know the reason why, but as evidenced by this week, Sawyer puts up 17 double-doubles. That's 2 off the weekly record. A triple-double. Has the most assists in the league and can't win the matchup. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to start streaming here if you want to see that turnaround. That being said, Sawyer's only lost 3 games this year, so really don't think he has anything to fret about, but Tom looked good with the highest field goal this week with 502 and the most blocks in the league with 50. Tom had a combined total of 104 stocks. Pretty big. MVP for Tom's going to be OG Anunoby. Only hit 58 points, but had 31 boards and 12 steals on the week. Tom only 1 steals over Sawyer by 3, so needed all those steals from OG. Tom in 5th place would have been 9-0. Oh, so crispy. 1-game winning streak, record of 7-5-0. Meanwhile, Sawyer drops from 1st down to 3rd out of a first-round bye. Would have been 6-3, only losing to Tom, John, and Chris. Sawyer had a 1-game losing streak, tie for 2nd, but in 3rd place. MVP of the week. Someone different this time besides Jokic and Luka. We got Nikola Vucevic. Yahoo, number 1 average player on the week with full multiple games played. 643 from the field, 18.8 points a game, 15.0 rebounds, 4.0 assists, 1.5 blocks, averaged a double-double, and had a triple-double to boot. We got a couple of good matchups this week. Sawyer vs. John's going to be the banger of the week. I'm looking forward to seeing some fireworks from that one. Tim and Chris, while they don't necessarily match up super evenly, Tim's team's fighting and can cancel out all the double-double or triple-double magic Chris might be having. Jackson versus Alec, myself versus Drew, and Nick versus Tom. That's all I got, boys. I also have included the 3-month team and individual player stats. See those attached in the email. See you next week.